Yep. Hi. Good morning and welcome to day 2 of Advanced Razor here at Pony Studios in Oakland. I want to welcome the viewers at home.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, and remember you guys can ask us questions, so send in comments, questions. We love to hear from you guys. We want to know that you're out there watching, so let us know and give us a shout out. And day 2, usually we open up with a discussion of day 1 with everyone who did hands-on. And I just want to ask you guys, to share a little bit, because I was just talking with you and you're like, I was so exhausted after class. And that's really typical of a day of stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying something new and, being a little nervous and kind of that whole time. And then afterwards you're like,
yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I feel like it could be that way for educators as well, right?
Yes.
A little bit. Like
yeah.
You're giving so much.
Yeah.
So I just want to start by saying thank you for being here yesterday and for really just pushing yourselves.
Yeah.
And you all did amazing.
You all did amazing work. It was really impressive.
Beautiful haircuts.
It was nice to see.
Yes. So
it definitely felt like an advanced razor cutting class.
Yes.
Which was nice.
Yes.
Because sometimes people come and it's not quite at that level yet, where they're still learning just, to work with the razor, which is fine. But it was nice just to dive deep into, deep into the cut and really go there, as opposed to like, this is how you hold it, and this is a tip, so, which is also important class to take. But I thought that I really had fun yesterday with everyone, and I was really inspired by everyone's work and styling, and it was really, really good. It was fun, so thank you.
Yes.
And out there in that world, go on our stories and see some of. Did you post the pictures?
I think I posted all the befores and afters.
So
right?
Did
really
you guys
see that?
I was really proud of you all.
Yes, they were all gorgeous and beautiful work. I do want to ask you guys to share a little bit of something from yesterday. We'll hand you the microphone, but I want you to talk a little bit about from demo to hands-on, and maybe a challenge, maybe a takeaway, just something that you can share with us and also the people watching at home.
Right, and also if you have a preferred pronoun, I didn't really bring that up yesterday, I apologize for that, if I misgendered anybody. Mine is he, him, them, they. I prefer them, they, but that's just a preference. So if I did do that, I do apologize, and I did mean to bring that up. I just, there's so much to talk about. So if there's a gender that other than that I called you, please let me know. And I do apologize. And
I go by she, her. Those are my pronouns. And okay, so do you want to start over here? Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I guess the biggest takeaway for me was I think Eric, right, is their name? He came over and was helping me a lot with my styling because I had a girl with very coarse hair, and as it dried, it would get super frizzy. And he was just really going in depth and showing me exactly how to just mold the hair and sculpt it in a way that I hadn't really seen before.
Yes.
So that was very impactful for me.
Yeah, it looked amazing. But her hair it just was getting very poof.
Yeah, super easily.
Yeah.
So those are very helpful. Yeah.
That's why I was asking her too. I was like, just don't wash your hair ever.
Yeah.
Just don't wash it.
And also air dry is important too. For that kind of hair.
I feel like it was just very interesting seeing how I could use my hands in a way that I didn't realize before, actually getting in there and moving the hair,
That,
it was very interesting.
And just sometimes with hair like that, pushing the product too and seeing how far you can take it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was definitely another one. Learning or thinking about incorporating product as you're cutting, during the process. I'd never really thought to do that before, so that will definitely be fun to play around with for sure.
Good.
I think the biggest takeaway for me was just doing the layering and the weight removal before doing the length, because I'm used to doing the length first and then going in and doing the layers. So that was, it was I liked it.
Yeah. She came out beautiful too.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
That's a big time saver as well, guys.
Yeah. And you could have been more aggressive too, even I think you were being very mindful, which is awesome. But you know, you could have been even more aggressive too with the weight removal. Because I think at the end when you did the final touches and your signature, that's when it was like, it really came off.
Yeah, like
That
so
front,
cool.
just, it was like, okay, that's what it needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she looked
Which
really
sometimes
happy.
is fun to say towards the end too.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know?
try it different ways. I think Katie and I talked about that yesterday. So, yeah, trying different things and not always being stuck in, because when you do that, it starts to become an automatic pilot haircut.
Yeah.
And you stop really thinking. You're just like, okay, I'm doing it one length. And then you're done. And that's like, what, 20, 30 minutes, right?
Right.
Or less, you know, whatever
Yeah.
it takes. But it's good to just get right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I think I had a lot. I took away a lot yesterday. I tend to want to make everything perfect, and I think it was a good reminder to just be a little looser about it. I usually like re-wet the hair,
Yeah.
and I actually with that cut didn't do
Yeah.
that. And by the time I was done, I didn't even have to diffuse or dry it. I
looked
was able
great.
to just like hand dry it and
It
put some
looked
product
awesome.
in
She was
it.
perfect.
And that I wouldn't have done at the salon, so I'm really excited to
Yeah.
try working with a little less, like you know, being able to see what's happening as I'm cutting it and not being so afraid that I have to continue to get the hair so wet. Also, Travis helped me realize that I can put my comb down and just kind of pick out pieces
I love
that I
that.
want to
Yeah.
carve away a little bit. And so that's also something I'm really excited to
Yeah,
to
I
implement
love
behind the chair more.
Because when you put your comb down, it kind of turns into a whole other moment. You know,
Totally.
of it's just you and your tool, and you're just really moving the hair and seeing where you like it and not, and you're not combing it because she's probably never going to use a little comb on her
Yeah.
hair. You know, she's going to use her hand.
You're also not
So-
forcing the
You're
hair
not
out of where
forcing
it wants
just
to naturally
falls
just
and-
live,
and
which is cool.
Even on the short haircut, you know, I was going through and I was just finding little pieces of
Yeah.
bulkiness. And
Yeah.
then as you do that more and you don't have the comb and you eliminate all that, you kind of, it's like training your eye, you know,
Yeah.
to see things differently and training your, you know, what you see, like, as opposed to like, it has to be this thing all measured. It's
Yeah.
like, look in the mirror. Does that look good or not? If it doesn't look good, then fix it, you know? And then even when you get to the end, really evaluate the cut and then like, can I push this a little more? You know, I remember she was our manager, but she was also a hairstylist, Connie at Bumble and Bumble. And Howard, you know, or actually Howard said it, but Connie told it to me. But just, you know, just to elevate it even more. Like, oh, you did this really cute shag, but what could I do at that very end moment just to really fucking turn it out, you know? Is it one more little choppy, weird piece or whatever? So always, like, I'm never done, so it's hard. You know, like I could have worked on that cut for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm in that zone of being creative and feeling inspired.
Yeah.
But if you are, then just go with it, you know, and people, your client will wait for you.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm doing a masterpiece right now.
Totally. And I like the idea of like visually just checking to see what it looks like I said, as
Yeah.
it's drying, rather
Yes.
than making sure like everything is
Yeah.
traditionally like balanced. It's more like,
look at your
does it
client
look
in the
balanced?
mirror and step away
Yeah.
and look at it. And even when me and Karina are talking and we're talking about the model, it's like, don't look at us. Like, look in the mirror with us, you know? And I learned that during Fashion Week. I'd always get in trouble, you know, with a certain stylist. I won't mention.
So when they're talking to you, you're
and
like
he would-
looking at them. They're like,
They
look
would
at
just
the
get
mirror.
so mad because they're like, I want you. And I'd be like, He's like, what are you doing? Look in the mirror at the model. I'm like, But it was actually a really, I use that all the time. It's like, you know, when we're explaining, like, see the bang,
Yeah.
look in the mirror.
We're helping develop your eyes.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to look at what we're looking at and hear what we're talking about and to go, oh, yeah, I totally see that. And you'll never not see it again.
Yeah.
You know?
And photographing it and fucking with it and like just really cool things happen. You know, it's really fun. That part of it's really fun for me.
Yeah, I feel like today we should really get into that creative zone and try to step outside of
Yeah.
what we normally would do. Right?
But I also like, because I know Karina and I know she's going to make my work look good. It was kind of like I trusted her to go and take the picture. I'm like, oh, Karina's going to turn it out and maybe do something different that I'm not going to do. You know, so it's also fun to see other people style your work, you know.
I was doing a little flippy thing.
Because I remember my last class I taught, I did the cut and stuff, and then I saw the picture. I'm like, wait, that looks really good, you know, because she just did something different, you know. And I was like, I wouldn't have done that, but I really like it, you know.
Yeah.
It was Coco.
Yeah.
And it was very
Coco's
styled
fun,
like
'cause
Coco. I'm like,
has-
oh, that's why you make Coco's haircuts look like that. You just style it like how she does.
And Coco is, I don't know if any of you have taken class with Coco, but Coco definitely has a unique style of cutting and styling. And it's just hers. She doesn't look on Instagram.
No.
She does, you know, she's not like copying what she sees. She's creating things.
Yeah,
she's
she's
really,
amazing. She's our
really like
teacher.
a legend when it comes to razor cutting. So if
She's
you ever get a
really-
chance to see Coco,
She's special.
she is.
She's so New York, and it's just, I love
She's
her so
totally
much.
New York.
But she's scary in the beginning.
She can be scary,
She's
but she's
softened a
really,
little
yeah,
bit.
she's a softie.
I guess my biggest takeaway was body positioning, just like I've never gotten that into a client's space before.
Yeah.
And just like really turning their head and
Oh,
just
yeah.
making sure that I'm just like exactly where I need to be with my hands, my body, my razor. It was just like so much
intimate.
content.
Yeah.
It's an
Like,
intimate experience, and you
Yep.
should always be like, you are mine
Yes.
Yeah.
until I'm
Yes.
done with you. And then that's
yeah.
yours.
Normally I'm pretty
You know?
shy, so I was like, oh my God, okay.
And your
like,
clients too will be like, at first,
mom.
you're like, put your head forward. And they're just like, you're like, no. Now it's like, I'm like, just put it to the side.
Yeah.
Not that aggressive, but it's like they know, now I think clients know that I'm going to touch their head and move it. So they're just like, oh.
And I think that's a really good sign for a client when
Yeah.
you are like in charge and you know what you're doing, and it makes them really comfortable. They're like, okay, this person wants me to be here. I'm going to be
Yeah.
here, you know? And it just helps us work. It helps us not have to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
you know? So when the sooner you can get comfortable with like being like sitting in their lap and cutting their hair, then the sooner you're going to, you know, start to develop that like, I'm not shy about that.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Unless they're really awkward and you don't want to make them uncomfortable.
I just want to
You might
say,
not want to sit in their lap.
You're like, I'm done. One length. I'm done.
I'm just a baby.
I just want to say, just being next to you that whole time, there was so much learning going on, and you were like, okay. And it was just really cool. It was cool to see you navigate that, and I know what that feels like. So it was great. It was great. God, there was so much to take away. So, you know, watching the demos, I wanted to do all the things that you guys did, you know, and then my client called for just a very tight technique and just something very simple. And so I was like, okay. You know, and it just came back right down to shape and form and square and heavy and where are you pulling from and what is the head shape and then where is it going to lay and where do we want the weight to lay and where do we want it to move more and that was it. And so I wanted to go and like thin this out and try this thinning technique. And I was kind of cool to have to just do the opposite of doing the whole signature thing, but making it really, well, the signature was the shape.
Yeah.
This is what you're doing. This
Yeah.
is like your 3 motions, and then you're gonna just make sure and check it, and then that's where it lays, and then the hair does the rest.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
I love that.
I loved watching that. And then, so yeah, that was hard because I was like, I want to do all the things.
Yeah.
But, and you know, called for that.
What did you put in her hair?
The
looks so
curl
good.
cream. That was it.
The
Just-
Mr. Smith curl cream?
No, the Isles
Curl Revive.
Curl Revive. Yeah.
Isn't it
was
crazy
good.
how well
So
that's all
beautiful.
that's in my hair today.
Yeah.
It's
that
like, it
today.
just works really well.
And
It's
her
like
hair was kind of
soft.
coarse, and so it softened it, and it laid into
It's so
itself.
pretty. So
And then in the
cool.
blow dry, like not touching it very much, making sure you're patient.
Did you use a brush at all in the front or just your finger?
No, we were talking about using
was
the
so
little clips,
good.
and
Just
her
like a
hair
little-
just wanted to.
Almost like a finger roller.
Really good.
Yeah, we just kind of dried it
Yeah.
there. The other thing to take away is how to hold my razor.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of just got into a bad habit, and so I got checked twice. And they're like literally one after the
did
other.
notice that.
What are you doing? Wait a minute. And then both very polite. Well, Travis less because he knows me. He's like, girl, what is that? What are you doing?
I'm like,
No,
girl,
give me the
what is-
razor.
how are you
And
holding
then
that?
Eric a little more and a little nicer, you know. I mean, it's just really interesting. I'm not sure how it's even cutting like that. And I'm just like, God, help me.
You're like, I developed it myself.
Yeah, exactly. I know I haven't watched
I'm a
anything.
genius.
It was no Instagram, nothing by myself. I did this. Yeah, but it was much, much easier. So that was really great because I was like, oh, there was so much more freedom when I had all that correct.
Because it was like, that's why I looked, because it looked like awkward, you know?
It
And,
was.
like,
It was
shouldn't-
awkward.
You know, it should all flow.
Yeah, like I made it happen, but it wasn't
Yeah,
great.
and it
you
will
know?
take a minute, but really do it how I showed you.
Yeah. And then also just from where you're cutting. I got from you, Karina, of like dropping in the middle and then moving out, because you're really thinking about the short to long idea and where do you want the hair to go. And so you're, in thinking that way, starting in the place that you start is it's calculated, you know? So I really enjoyed that. I have more. Yeah, just the more is less. And the cutting with product is so great. Like styling as you go, and then trying to find the product that you can actually cut with, so you're not getting all, you know, you want it to still move, but that it shapes as you go, so that it's doing the work for itself.
Yes.
Yeah. So lots of good stuff.
Yeah. Even sometimes just using like when we worked at Bumble, like the prep and the tonic spray and not water. Like we never used water at Bumble. Remember, we only ever.
And those dry faster than water too, so then you don't feel like your hair is never getting dry.
It's kind of fun to
you know?
revisit those with the razor too, because it's kind of a little of a glide. I always forget.
Yeah.
And then when I find one, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. I used to use prep all the time.
Eric, did you have any takeaways that you want to share?
Yeah, I think it always comes back down to body positioning and really working cleanly. You know, we had the models we had yesterday had so much hair, a lot of them, and it was really
like
healthy
hair
and
farmers.
silky, and you can see where we easily get lost in a haircut. Also, we're like, wait, where was I? And how? So it's those moments of like, it's just always a good reminder to like work cleanly. You're done with that section, just get it out of the way, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And I think those are always the best reminders. It's like, oh yeah, that's when I'm running behind the chair. Like, why am I running behind? It's probably because I got lost somewhere, and I'm trying to find it again.
Right. Yeah. So it's timing is one thing that's really important to all of us, because we only have so much time with our clients, right?
Yeah.
So I think any kind of time saver you can think of is always going to be so good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I did want to add something about adding products. So I learned so much about products in my career, because when I went to Bumble, they would touch the hair and be like, nope, you didn't apply enough.
Yeah.
Or you applied too much. You know, and it's just about touching the hair and knowing. And one of the things that I find helpful is working with balance. So what does it feel like without anything in it? Is it rough? Is it soft? Is it silky? Is it, like coarse?
Yeah.
What are you feeling? And what product would be the exact opposite of that? And then apply, and you would create a balance in that texture. So like if it's really silky and soft, apply something that's really rough, right? And maybe tacky or gritty. And now that hair is going to be right in the middle of that texture, right? It's not going to be too soft. It's not going to be too coarse. So if someone's hair is really coarse, what are you going to add? Softness, right? Because then now it's going to feel a little less, We had a visitor? What's going on? Yes, so anyway, think about that when you're touching your client's hair during your consultation. And this is something that I'm always thinking about. Like from the very beginning of meeting my client, I'm touching their hair and I'm feeling the difference between the roots, the nape, the bangs, the hairline. Sometimes in here, there's a little bit of a rougher texture. So you can use more softness here, and maybe here, or the roots, you want to use something that's a little bit rough. So we're always thinking about why you're picking up a product, right? And using it with intention.
And sometimes when we get a new line, or I'm working with a line that I don't know, I will just use that same product over and over and over and over and over and over, just to see really how it works and performs.
How does it work on this hair, and how does it work on this hair?
If that cream that you use, and just every client, or with curls, just see and use a lot or little or that, and then I think that's how you really know those products. So when somebody comes in with that texture, or even if they have wavy curly hair, but they also blow their hair out, you're not going to give them like something that's for a curly texture. You also want to do a silky, beautiful blowout. And there's a lot of products that are, creamy products with a little oil.
Yeah.
But
and that helps you. Like you're like, oh, you have the same hair that worked really well on, so I'm going to pick that for you too. So it's really great. You become like a master at products. So, And that's what your clients need. They need that, right? If you need it to do their hair, then they need it to do their hair as well.
It's kind of the first step too, I think, for clients to get into. If they're just like, they don't do this, they don't, it's like, well, you have to find the right product. And you have to do one styling thing to your hair. And that's a styling thing. Putting a product in your hair is styling your hair.
Make it realistic for them, right? Like, I'm not going to do anything.
Just do the front, practice the front. And then, because some people are just really lost with that, or they have your texture and they think that's bad texture, where I see that and I'm like, oh, that's great. I love it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I just have the worst curls ever. I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you have great
People can start to think a certain thing about their hair.
And then it just becomes that, and you're just like, you just haven't found the right product, or you haven't used, if your curls are still frizzy, you need to use more, probably. More product.
Yeah, and more on the ends maybe than the roots.
Or
and
less,
so yeah,
or
just
whatever,
figuring it out. I think it's just looking at how the hair reacts to it and really paying attention to it. So we're going to talk a lot about that today.
Yeah.
I do want to let you guys know day 2 is always easier and faster. And also you come into more of this, like, this is my home, where day 1 you're kind of like, what? How do I hold a comb? Like, you're kind of disoriented because you're not in your usual place of work. But day 2 is always a little bit more easy and just flows a little bit better. So we will do our best to get you guys a model in your chair today that isn't exactly what you did yesterday, so we can kind of move on to that. And then I do want to look at that video again that we showed you yesterday. When I was training with Rowena, she would have me look at haircuts and tell her how I would cut it. And that was like an exercise when I was learning how to cut hair. So while you're watching this video, I just want you to think of how you would approach this haircut. Just a quick little thought, and then we'll have one of you share after the video, okay? All right.
Cool.
Turn off these lights. Pick a haircut, one that you would want to describe. And can I pick someone?
Yeah.
I'll just pick someone.
It's fun to see it a second day. Do you feel like you saw different things today? You're like, oh wait, the Debbie Harry one, I didn't even remember that one from yesterday.
Yeah, totally.
It's like you just see things different,
Yeah, I think it's good to play it twice. Do you want to share how you would cut one of those haircuts?
I was trying to think about all of them.
Or should we pick a haircut for her?
Should we pick one? Okay, let's pick one. Which one do you want to pick?
Stella Tennant, the blonde Stella,
Okay.
just like a little shorter.
Okay.
A little short bang.
Yeah.
Because a little bit of length.
Can we pull that up or no?
Can we pull that up?
Oh, which one was that?
Okay,
that,
can-
that one didn't stick in my
I have it on
like
my
the real
phone.
super blonde one that was like kind of a bob, but super shagged out.
It's kind of like the haircut I did yesterday, really.
It's like the triangular, or the short one.
The short one.
I feel like you could approach all of Stella Tennant's cuts except for the little baby bob that she had. Remember that one?
I mean, it was cool because you see very classic, like Beetle Sassoon type Dorothy Hamill that's really clean, that's all about architecture and shape. And then you see like a bob that's very simple.
But which one are you?
Then,
Oh, yeah.
Dorothy Hamill.
Dorothy Hamill, right?
Yes,
Which is like
yes.
the the Firefly or
Love.
whatever. We had those too.
Yeah.
But like, but then you also had these really simple bobs where, like yesterday, your demo in the very end where you just kind of like took the front off.
Yeah.
And then so you had the girl with the, the straight hair that had the little bangs and some like little pieces that were just kind of like, so you have your shape in there, but then you had pieces that she made it romanticized. Ah, this one.
Kind of like that. It was a little short on the front.
Ah, okay, yes. Ah, okay. Do you want to show them?
Sure. It was similar to that.
Okay.
Like kind of
It was different than
It was
that
a little
one.
different. She was shorter around the face, but she had like that length in the back, right?
Yeah.
She had more of a baby bang.
It was more like the one that I did
That's what you did
yesterday.
yesterday, but it almost looks a little more square because there's a little
Yeah.
bit more weight on the top than you had, so it doesn't look like it follows the head shape quite as much.
Right.
But the weight at the bottom was held
Yeah.
up and out, so that was left, and then probably textured in neck after.
Yeah.
And then also around the ears was left as well, but the top had more fullness.
Yes.
So it looked like there was a little bit more of a square.
Yeah.
Some more weight was left on top, and
Yeah.
then this was all carved out
Yeah.
at the end. So it was very similar, but not so
Yeah,
round.
a
like,
little
it was more
different,
round.
not
Yeah.
maybe so round, you're right.
Yeah.
Like a little square on the side. But you could also see how the cut I did yesterday could turn into, if she came back was a little more grown out, I'm like, she's so open, I could be like, you know what, let's just chop the bang off this time. Make this maybe a little more heavy. Like you could really have fun with short hair. And just changing all of that, just changing that front piece. And that could be very Stella-ish. And you could do a little more square, not so round, not so head shapey. But yeah.
Thanks. Why don't we bring up your model? What do you think? Want to get started?
Yes.
You guys ready to see a demo?
Bring
All right.
up
So Kate,
Kate.
come on up.
And their pronouns are them and they. And so Kate, when I saw their picture, we had a list of models, and for some reason, I saw Kate, and I just was like, I'm going to do Kate. And I had a whole vision of Kate, and I was like, I just want to do this very androgynous sort of haircut that could be very masculine or feminine. And then when Kate came in, I was like, Kate has a very softer, pretty face. And then I thought, oh, they're not going to want the haircut. But then it was like, we were exactly on the same page. So that was like a nice moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be scary to offer someone something when you just look at them. Because sometimes we judge them, right? We judge, you're like, you wouldn't want this, would you? And they're like, yes, I do.
But I think that on your profile, it did say you were very open. And I was like, is Kate really open to like doing a different shape? And the cut that I want to do, again, it's not something that I would say it's pretty or handsome or whatever. It's just kind of however they want to describe it. Or if they did say pretty, I don't think that's offensive. I like to be called pretty or hot or whatever.
Sexy.
Oh, Steve.
Who doesn't want to be sexy?
Everybody wants to be sexy. I do say the word cute a lot, and I've had clients be like, I don't want to be cute. I'm like, I'm from California, everything's cute.
So cute.
So this hair is totally amazing, and I love the curls. It's really thick and really dense. Like, there's so much more hair than I thought. So then I also was like, do I do this? What I'm thinking? But they were down. So my idea, and I kept talking about the jellyfish yesterday. So I was like, kind of in my mind, I'm like, oh wait, jellyfish have that curly hair. But I thought that their hair was going to be a little bit finer. So I'm like, oh, that jellyfish, that's going to be really big. But so my idea though was inspired by the jellyfish. But I liked the face, and I liked the idea of this being shorter. And also, not a mullet, but just like, oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm doing it on that side.
Like kind of like a bi-level.
Like a bi-level. So, I think kind of going maybe short to long, and I'm gonna drop it past the chin a little bit because it'll probably curl up. And then the back, the length here, I'm gonna leave the length and then and then just cut into it when we're done. So that's this here and then this length down here. So it's bi-level, bi-level. But I think just a little jawline, following the jawline would be nice. I don't want it to look like an A-line, but I want to cut these layers. I'm going to go short. I'm going to start in the front today. And I'm just going to cut everything square. So I think I'm going to go about here and just, that's going to be the length. And I'm going to do that all the way around. So these are all going to be, and I'm going to cut everything back here square. So that's going to kind of just be like wavy curly head shape all the way around. And then at the end, they were also open to this getting bigger. And there's always that image of, now I can't remember anything I'm talking about. Folk singer, Bob Dylan, where his hair is, it's a short version, and I always try to talk people into it, where it's like shorter through here and kind of wispy and long, and then big on top. Yeah. So it's kind of like a really grown out, exaggerated Bob Dylan too, which I wish I had that reference picture. So if you know the cut, and if you could think of it, if you're into Bob Dylan, you probably know that.
It almost looks like it goes.
It's when he was young, and it's just so good, and it was probably like he also, like Patti Smith, cut that
Probably
haircut.
just cut it himself, yeah.
So it's also very visual, like I'm gonna do the square. But I also, I've never done this haircut on this texture. So that first cut, it's gonna really
tell me a lot, but I know that they're open, so I'm not holding back. I'm just gonna go full tilt boogie, balls to the wall. Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Excited. Oh, I think we have a reference picture. All right, let's see.
What's your plan for the front, Travis?
Oh,
the
for
bang
the front,
area.
sorry. So that's a good question.
You like
Say it.
this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Inspired
this one.
by that shape a little.
Yeah.
I just,
Oh,
I like it when it's
this
more
one.
narrow. That's the one.
This is
yeah,
the one.
I love that one. Can I see how long
Yeah.
the hair is in the front?
Yeah. Do you see it? Oh, sorry.
So-
I'm too close. That's why. Right? Ooh.
So ish.
Sexy.
Like inspired by that.
yeah.
And then long. But I love this. I love that. They're open to that. So the
And
bang,
also the bangs are already like same length.
Yeah, I love the bang. I'm gonna actually add more. I'm gonna do more. And because I also.
Did you say,
wanna
yeah,
do
add
this
more? I love that.
Just, yeah.
She's like, I could do it. I'm going to do the
I'll
demo.
just do this haircut. I want to do it.
It feels like that, huh?
Add more and just cut into it, and maybe even leave a little longy through here. So it'll be that. And then I think, when I'm done, I kind of want to do little curly cuey things. I don't know. Like little tendrils or something. I just want, and I think it's just going to fall really soft, but then push back. And I might even do like a little, a bit under here, I think would be awesome.
Yeah.
So, then if you just take bobby pins and do stuff and pull things out, I love that. And then that'll just be cool. Or taking the back, pinning the back up, and then you literally have the Bob Dylan. So that's why I think this cut will be fun and cool. And it's like in the zone of, I'm just gonna let them down.
Okay.
Like the wolf cut or whatever, I don't know. Is the wolf cut like a bi-level, or it's more of a mullet, right?
I think there's just so many.
Bi-level.
There's
Okay.
so many different looks, but I think it's just inspired by a wolf. So it's like
Is it?
shorter.
I don't
Yeah.
get it.
It's inspired by a wolf. I asked
wolf?
someone, and yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So it's just supposed to be like shorter in the front, and it goes longer
Got it.
towards the back.
Do you
so
get a lot of
I feel like it can look however.
references that are cartoon anime pictures these days? Yeah. It's so weird for me. I'm like, it's cool, but it's just different. How do you feel about when people bring in inspiration pictures? Do you like it or not like it? I like it too. I love that. I always tell people, I'm like, no, please, I want to see what page we're on here. What reality.
Yeah. What's your aesthetic? What do you
you're
like?
kind of living
I don't
in
even
too,
know.
like, because some people are right on and it's great and I love it, and some people are just like, this is just not.
Well, how many times do you get someone who's like, I want to go crazy? I want to have a shag today. And you're like, okay, let me see your reference pictures. And they show you a picture of a long layer.
Yeah.
Like a beautiful long layer. And you're like, oh, that's not quite a shag, but now I know what you mean. You know, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's go
Yeah,
crazy.
people's versions of shags are very interesting. I'm like, you mean like a Joan Jett kind of thing? Or are you thinking more like, oh, what? You know, or like a softer, you know, Stevie Nicks-y kind of thing. You know, it's like, but people will say that, but then they put all the limitations. Like, what? I don't want him to be too short. I'm like, well, that's just a long layer haircut, which is pretty.
Yeah.
But I think doing all the face stuff, you can really not have to do all that crazy shit and work someone into that. You know, just doing shorter pieces and stuff, and that's a big change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like even though for us we're like, that's not crazy, but for them it is. They're like, well, this is crazy for me.
Well, even I think I forget who had the two long hair girls yesterday. I feel like your girl, like for her, that was really a big change. Like she seemed so scared, and I was like, it's not really that different. But I mean, it was different, but it was still
different,
long and pretty.
And she also still had those long bangs, you know.
Where I think who had the other you, and she was just so into it, feeling it, and
that was so sexy. That was sexy hair, right?
Yeah.
She looked instantly cool, right? And she
but I
still
feel like your girl, if she worked it, it just, I'm like, why the side part, like you're so connected to this.
Really, like, she was like, you can do the middle part, but like, she's like, I'm literally gonna walk out.
Like she was just, I was like, you're not
She's young.
You're not a fun girl.
What'd you say?
Nothing. I'm like, you're not a fun girl. And that's
You're
okay.
like, okay, we're done. Bye.
I have a lot of clients that are just like, no, this is how I'm going to wear my hair. Like, you're going to see me in 15 years. It will be the same part.
Yeah, this is my
and
look.
I need to do the part myself. I'm like, oh. I do
You're like, oh wait,
though,
there's 3 more hairs that go this way.
throughout the years of cutting hair, I remember at Architects and Heroes in the beginning, people were so crazy about the parts. Where I was like, do it. And now, I don't know if it's because how
They
I
appreciate
cut
that
hair.
though. They take your comb and they're like, okay. And
They're
then they're like, that's
I
not
know
it.
it's in the middle of that. Like, you're like, I know, it'll be fine. Just chill. But people, I think now are more open to that part moving and not having a part, which I really like. I don't get women that are so freaked out about the part. Although I do have clients that are very anal about that center part, and it's better be on point.
And how about the like, I don't have a part.
Oh my God.
I mean, you know, that's just, there's that person. It's like, oh no, I just do this. No, I don't have a part.
So Travis, we have Deborah Collins online, and she's
Sorry, what's the name?
Deborah Collins.
Deborah Collins. Hi, Deborah Collins.
She's like, Travis, you're so cute.
Oh, Deborah, please.
Deborah.
Oh gosh, Deborah.
Thanks for joining us today, Deborah.
I like cute. Thank you for saying I'm cute. I like to be cute.
You're hot.
I like hot too.
You're all the things.
Deborah,
I think
you're
I know
cute.
Deborah Collins. Does Deborah Collins come in? Maybe they'll respond.
Oh, sorry, does that hurt? No, I accept that. Okay. So, sorry. What was use that one?
The pump, yeah.
I think I'm going to start off with a little of that.
It'll make it really slippery and easier to comb too.
And then I think at the end I'm going to use that jelly stuff. I'm really into that jelly.
I don't think you're ready for this jelly.
I'm ready. I am ready for that jelly. It's all about
Bring
the
it.
jelly and the jiggle and the wiggle. Me and Karina were talking about that. I was like, no, it's about the jiggle.
Yeah.
You like the jiggle.
Yeah.
You like
Nothing
to
wrong
jiggle.
with the jiggle.
I'm not going to say what we'll say. That was the after party.
We'll tell you guys after.
After. Could I get a towel? Sorry.
Oh, there's one right here.
Karina, she would join the Michael Gordon movie nights.
Yes. Yeah, I remember Deborah.
All right, so now we go. I think.
Thanks for being here, Deborah.
Yesterday, I started in the back, right? Or did I do the front? No, I
You did
started.
the back.
Yeah.
You started right.
I'm gonna start in the front, and I'm gonna just address those bangs right away. Is this right? Yeah.
And you can always use that screen as your mirror, Travis, whenever you remember to.
I don't like looking at myself on that screen.
You look really good, though.
It's always that weird side angle where you're like, I'm kind of a troll.
Every time I see myself in that, I'm always like, I see myself like,
Long neck.
Certain things like a center part, I'm not gonna lie, I will be honest, is not always, it takes me a minute. You know, you're like, oh God. During Fashion Week, we used to work, his name was Laurent Philippon, and he was just, I mean, that part, it would just, sometimes we'd be there for like 20 minutes, like just making it perfect, and sometimes there's just those people that their hair, that middle part's just never gonna be perfect.
Jimmy Paul was also really crazy
But it
about
is
that.
really, like
When the
if
model
you're doing
pulls
a
the-
style and that part is so perfect, it's gotta be perfect, you know? Like if it's a
Yeah.
slick back look and it's a perfect part down the middle,
It's stunning.
it just takes it to another level, you know? Then she's expensive, or they're expensive, or he's expensive. I always wanna look expensive. I like that. It's like elevated, you know? It's just, even if you have purple hair, you know, there's something about that. There's like festival hair, and then there's like the Dolce & Gabbana blue hair. It's just different, you know, and they're both good, but I think I'm more, you know, couture.
You are.
Couture, but punky. Funky. I'm funky. That's what my grandma
A little
says.
punk.
She's like, you should dress different when you're in San Diego. I'm like, why? I'm too funky.
You're like I do. I wear my summer blacks.
We could, at Architects, we could wear whatever we wanted, remember?
Yeah, you have to look good though still.
Yeah.
Did they
We all
ever
had our
send anyone
looks.
home? Did they ever send anyone home for like an outfit that wasn't?
But they talked about you.
Yeah.
I wasn't in that situation. There were people that were.
Who would be talking? Oh, I know who was talking.
We would get sent home at Bumble.
Yeah.
I
Michael
got
told
sent home
me.
for wearing 501 cutoff shorts once. Yeah.
I almost wore a t-shirt today. I'm like, but then I always think, what if Michael Gordon watches this? I don't want him to see me in a t-shirt.
Aw. He was the one that everybody stood up straight for when he walked in the room.
And when he caught you off guard and you're like, oh God, I look so gross today. And he would come up and he'd be like, oh, you look like you rolled out of bed today. And you're like, I kind of did. Because, you know, after a while, you're not, like when you're an assistant and you have to wear black, you're just like,
I don't want to wear black ever again.
So I like the length of the bang. I'm just going to open it up. I'm going to do some inversions. And here I'm going to go a little lower. And I think in my class we did some bang sections, and was that the first time you sort of broke the bang down like in 3 sections, or do you normally do that? I think, was it you? Yeah, you'll do that normally? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I used to always just do it in one shot, and I think it's nice to just, when you're trying to do something, create something with movement, to break that down. Yes, there's
do
a
you-
question.
Yes. Do you tend to look at the curl pattern when you're breaking in? With
I
the
do.
razor?
I really check it out. I should have got more into the hairline in my consultation. And when I go in, you know, I always do that. I check myself. You know, I push. So I'm not going to go way up in that world. I try to stay down here because you're kind of cutting into that groove, you know? Where
Right.
if you get up in here too much, it could just do something weird.
But if the hair tends to push one way, will you kind of?
Yeah, I like to
Adjust
cut
for that
it
with your
Yeah.
razor?
Who had the really interesting bang with all? Oh, your
Sam?
Sam.
The model Sam.
It just really, everything went to the side. So we really did just kind of cut it and then moved it and looked at it, and it came out really beautiful.
It really did. The bang looked so thick and like together. It wasn't like separating. It looked really good.
So I kind of like some of these little, I don't want to get.
Your nails look great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, I didn't do my nails yesterday. And then I'm gonna lift up and then just take that little corner off.
Yeah, it was like a little layer, right?
Yeah.
It's already looking really cool.
So,
How long? 45 minutes.
45 minutes, okay. So I'm gonna still follow head shape, but I liked Karina when she was just sort of separating, and to answer your question, kind of seeing where the curls, like that one wants to go there, so we'll put her there. It kind of tells you, but I'm gonna put that up there only because, let's see. So here, and everyone knows the high recession and low recession. If out there in Pony Live Land, if you're not clear with that, this is your high recession and that's your low recession. And we both, we reference that right there a lot because this is really where there's a lot of head shapes that tends to change.
And it makes it custom to them.
Yeah. You know, when you're doing your bang section, you always start at where the head starts to curve, and then it just automatically goes right there. It's like weird how that falls into place. So I'm just going around. I think, and I'm not gonna lie, doing this is tricky for me. You know, just letting it kind of do its thing. Because it's so ingrained, like your perfect part section. But really when you lift it up, I literally just lift up her hair. I don't know if I want to get a good shot of that. So this back here, I just lifted it up and it just went right, kind of just goes right where you want it to go.
Yeah, and like Coco says, the hair will talk to you. You just have to listen to it, right?
Sometimes it doesn't listen to you though. So you have to take control.
How did that feel for people yesterday, moving the hair around with your hands and trying to find partings and without using the comb? Was that new?
How about you? Do you want to speak to that? Did you feel like you learned a new trick about hair, picking up hair and?
Yeah, I feel like I've traditionally just done the with the comb and just really regimented parts. So that was just totally new to be like, where is it going to be? And let's part it there. And it was just totally new.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just want to cut my perimeter first right here. I want to see where I'm going.
You're giving yourself like a guide or a reference, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can you move that way, Sue? Yeah, that's perfect.
That was a shout out to Balenciaga and tjspec@gmail.com. Or you can send it to Pony. We accept gifts here. So I'm gonna I think I'll just do it square. So see, it's kind of right here. I think I'm gonna go below. Maybe a little higher. And I think at the end, I might, as it dries, go a little shorter.
Mm-hmm. Also taking into consideration curls shrink, right? And how many of you guys get curly clients? Do you have a lot of curly clients? Yeah, kind of. Well, some of us do. I think it's kind of rare to have someone with just straight hair. Like no movement, glossy, straight hair is I don't really see it that much.
I'm already
Look what that's doing.
I have a lot of curly hair girls, and I really love curly hair.
Me too.
I always get excited. I like, all different curls and coils too, which is kind of nice to see people just embracing that.
Yeah, I love
a
it.
tight little coil and working with that and just understanding how that's all different too. And even that it's not a curl, it's a coil, and that there's a number for that, to describe that, which it's a whole world of curly hair. And that I feel like I didn't grow up like knowing all the different curls and coils, and it's a B3, I'm still,
Yeah.
But, it's interesting. It's amazing.
There's different
I love all
schools. There's
the-
different schools of,
Yeah.
curly education.
And there's a whole natural hair movement, which I think is really amazing and beautiful, and also sad that there has to be, like laws and things for people to wear their natural hair. I think there's only so many states in the United States, and this has only been in the last 5 or 6 years that they've made these laws, like telling people, like, you can't wear your hair curly like that. You have to blow it out. It's like, but this is my hair.
Like you have to look professional.
So it's like, that's why with curly hair, men and women, and, non-binary, curls are very sensitive, I think. People with curly hair are very sensitive, and when someone trusts you with their curly hair, I really
big
honor
deal.
that.
Yeah, it's a really
so
big
that
deal.
to have someone like Kate today come in and trust me, it's like, really? Okay, cool. Because
Let's do it.
doesn't happen a lot. So, thank you.
There's that beautiful moment too when you get somebody who has curly hair that you can help guide them into loving their curls.
Yeah.
'Cause so many curly haired people are like, I hate my curls.
So many.
I struggle with it all the time, and they've gone through the flat ironing, they've gone through it, and they don't know how to embrace having it. And there's that moment when they're like, I love my hair now.
Yeah.
It's like
I finally learned how to do it,
Exactly.
or how
It's
to
a
not do it,
Yeah.
I always
Less
get
is more sometimes.
bummed. My dad has curly hair. My hair got wavy as I got older, and then it fell out. But my sister has beautiful curly hair. She's kind of like a medium blonde. I always thought it was really unique. And when she was a kid, the first strand of hair on her head was literally a curl. And she will not wear her hair curly. And I'm like, you've got to get over it. It's so beautiful and amazing. That was a little long. Okay. I mean, you can kind of already see this is sort of going to be
That's kind of a look, with a little bun on top.
That, a little this, a little that. Yeah. And I think I'm going to just take, it's kind of interesting. It is sort of the length that I said right here. So I'm really just taking that little tip off here. Is this a good angle where everyone can see?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. So I'm going inversions. Going right to my guide, I can see it, and I'm doing a very broad stroke.
I think learning techniques is that's something that I went through my whole training, is just learning different techniques and then trusting that technique. Like it's very similar to what Allison, or wait, what's your name? Allie, you and I did together. It was a technique, and you just had to trust it, but you had to do exactly what, the technique was. And right now, the technique that Travis is using is square, and he's just using a technique.
I did sort of, again, drop this out. Like I wanted to save that. I do that a lot where I'm like saving it. So I did do square, and then I got to here because I was like, I don't want to take all that away. I want to have fun with that.
Yeah, I like that.
And then this section in front, right behind the ear, I did go a little longer. I don't know why. I just felt like it would transition, but I don't know. So I've been very I just like to have fun at the end, so I'll leave pieces out.
Yeah, so it's like you're tweaking that technique, I'm using square, but I'm also adding length.
But then that happened, and I'm like, oh wait, that's good too. And so I'm being very aggressive, taking these, and then I'm gonna leave that. So I'm really kind of cutting everything inside out.
Do you guys feel like you can chat with your clients while you're cutting their hair? Yeah? When you're coloring? I feel like I can't talk while I'm cutting.
Really?
Unless I'm teaching.
Weird.
Because I'm talking about what I'm doing, so then I'm able to focus. But I have a hard time focusing and chatting, so I have to stop what I'm doing and be like, let's chat for a bit, and then I go back to what I'm doing. But I have a really hard time talking to my clients while I'm cutting.
Right. So we have a question from online from Echo.
Okay.
And,
Hi, Echo.
Oh, hi, Echo. I see Echo a lot lately.
and
Thank
so
you for
Echo
joining
wants,
us.
to go over, to explain what square layers are again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can answer that because I'm doing the cut. Square layers are literally just following a head shape, pulling it out square. So you're creating a corner here. And that doesn't mean that it has to look like a square haircut, but because I am going to round this to the square, as opposed to round, you would cut that corner off and follow the head shape. But her hair is already going to get big and round no matter if I cut it square or not. So I chose that technique because I wanted this to cave in, which it's doing.
Yeah, and I think square layers create.
Oh, shoot.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Square layers create a flatness,
God, I didn't even
right?
see
So
that
if you're doing
before.
something square, he's going to be okay, everyone. So if you're doing something square, it's going to flatten, right? So if you want something flat here, square is great, right? But if you want something to come out, triangular, right? Or if you want something to come around, round.
It's really
layers.
gross. I'm sorry. I didn't even know.
I didn't notice that. I didn't even
I didn't
notice.
feel that I cut myself. It's weird.
Eric's taking care of you.
Okay, so we got through the square.
Yes, does that answer your question, Echo? I love that name. It's a cool
Yeah,
name.
it's a great name. But everything is you can always alter everything too.
Yeah, you can make something scround, right? Like take a little of that corner off.
I'm just finding balance, but I'm not, if you do pull it out, it's like, I did pretty good at making it square.
Travis, when you're doing your inversions, are you going in and looking at, are you finding a certain space in the hair? Are you going where it's thicker? Are you?
Yes.
Kinda?
Yeah, I always look for that.
Okay, it's okay.
So, just wherever it feels more meaty. And I always kind of, when I push it in, where that little S starts, I always cut in the curve of the S. That always works, I think, for me, as opposed to here. That's what, I don't know,
And Echo just got back.
Yes, okay.
it's already getting really cute. Okay, so then I'm just going to continue. Sometimes you kind of get in that zone where you're like, wait, what did I do on that side? So this section behind the ear, kind of rounded that right there. So I'm going to pull that one straight out. Is this... So I go in, take the weight out, comb it out. So that was that little piece right here. Turn her
Towards the camera. Towards the camera.
10, 2, 8, 4.
Okay.
So it's sort of there.
And I'm taking pretty meaty sections. Following that. So doing my inversion. I was kind of eyeballing it. And this is like I'm removing weight and then length. And this is a little longer right here. And it's always okay, like if it's like check as you go along. And I used to, for some reason, when I was cutting and learning, I was afraid like if I didn't match it, I was like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
what, oh, I just fucked up the haircut. And then it's like, but you can always go back, you
Yeah.
know? And, but I think that sort of Vidal Sassoon technique, it was almost like, felt like it was this one shot. And if you didn't get it even and balance that first time, your haircut was just a disaster. Is this angle okay? Okay. So that section just started to feel a little like too much. I was like, you just sort of stop. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. God, how did that go by so fast? And it's fun as you go along, you can start to really see the haircut forming. And it's actually doing what I wanted it to do. Does anybody have any questions? No?
He's using weight removal to cut length. And sometimes you can do a whole haircut like that, just inversions and points, as long as you're ending at your target length.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that where the square becomes more visual, Karina? Where you're removing weight and cutting your length, you kind of have to have a vision of kind of where it is because you're not really necessarily following a guide.
Yeah, you're using your eye, and you're using a bit of memory as well. Like, how does that feel when I've finished that length? And a lot of times I use my mind's eye for like a line, so I draw a line with my mind, and I just follow that line. And yeah, definitely there's a lot of feeling involved too. And usually with razor cutting, you don't really have a guide. You have more of a reference, and you can pick a reference, right? You don't have to like use the one that you would have to use, let's say if you were cutting a scissor shape, right?
So I did that square, and then I started dropping that out, and then I was just doing little pieces like that, if you were wondering. So I changed that.
Just to add some layer on the way down to the length.
And this is sort of heavy through here.
You have 2 steps to the right.
The whole deal.
The other way?
That way? Mm-hmm. Okay. Could you just go down? Oh yeah. See, I love this.
It's so good.
Now I'm just doing, before I do the top, I'm really just
Hooking it up.
Yeah. I'm just
So right now you're using your eyes, right? And you're like, what do I want to take away? What do I want to lessen?
Like I can see it, and I'm like, I don't want this piece to go too short, because I don't want it to be too tendrily, but that wasn't working. I like this. I might separate that.
So, a question, Travis. When you're going through and you're like detailing these pieces out right now, like what edge of the blade are you on? Or are you changing it as you're going?
You mean or the edge or the flat?
Oh, you're on the edge or the flat?
I'm on the edge. Yeah. Okay.
That looks so good.
So it did, even I cut that, I was like, oh, it's not gonna look bi-level. It felt kind of round for a minute, but then it all kind of came together. And this just made it cave in. So honestly, like that's what's fun, like right now, and kind of nerve-wracking is like, I've literally never done this haircut. I just had a vision. So I'm like, oh, that piece, okay. And then I feel like if I did it, I'm not like I love it. It's so fucking cute.
It is so cute.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty jellyfishy, I have to
so
say.
good.
But I didn't graduate it. So I guess I really secretly wanted to do the jellyfish.
You can see where the growth on this.
It's like a little different version. And I'm just really getting in there.
I think the word for this class, we always have like a word besides like, I'm just a baby. We also have jelly.
Yeah, jelly. I'm obsessed
The
with
word
jelly.
jelly.
You said jelly. She's like, I'm gonna use the jelly. I was like, what's the jelly? I was like, I want to get into that.
That's one of my favorite products.
I don't know what that is. So here we go. I'm just gonna go with that section. I'm gonna lift it up. I'm gonna use that as my guide. And I think this hair is ready for all that jelly. It is. Yes, it is. So see how I did inversion? I just cut that piece out. Oh, fuck, Gus. It all came together. I'm really excited, sorry.
It's so funny because Coco decided to do this like micro fringe on this model, and her hair just kind of freaked out, and everybody was sweating, And what was cool is that we all got to talk about it, and even Coco talked about it, like, oh, I was real nervous when I cut that first piece, and I like that Travis is talking about how he's like, oh, well, it's like,
well, this
I'm going for it.
I mean, I really kind of just, I did like I pulled out every technique and stroke and trick of the trade. But it's just sort of like I wasn't trying to do that. It just sort of was like, I need to do this now, and now I'm going to do an inversion. And like I said, I sort of like just workshopped this cut right now in front of everyone. And, but I believe in my technique, and, you know, like I feel like me and Karina, we trust what we do. Like, and it's not like an ego thing or whatever, but I'm like, I'm gonna get there, you know, like.
It's just like how I asked you guys to look at those haircuts that you saw in the video and how would you do it? And we all might have a different approach, but the important thing is the end result, right?
So we have a question online from Debbie again. From
Debbie
Deborah
again?
Collins.
Hi, Debbie
Collins,
again.
and
Deborah Collins.
She wanted to know about what is jelly? What's the product?
Oh,
she's jelly.
Like, just wait.
I don't think you're ready, Deborah.
I don't think you're ready for all that jelly yet. It's the big surprise towards the end.
describe jelly, or you just want somebody that really loves it? Okay.
Jelly is from a company called Colton King. Their entire line is 100% synthetic free. It is a Himalayan sea salt serum that actually has banana juice in it to keep it shiny and soft. So you get the texture of the salt, but not the dryness that you can get from a traditional sea salt spray. And it smells amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Every client, you pull it out,
The
they're
smell
like, what is
alone
that?
sells it, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, people love it. You want to add? Oh, yes. We people are a fan of this product.
I love it because it's extremely touchable and very buildable. So like I will literally just go ham with it, you know? Like you can put so much in your hair and you don't even have to worry about thinking like if you're adding too much because it's just that good, you know?
It starts to
very
expand
touchable.
and expand more and more the more you add. Cool.
But I haven't put the jelly in yet, but I have been working
The Curl Revive.
The Curl Revive. And I'm learning a lot about products and what people use. And like you said, you really like that. I liked the curl, so I was like, I'm gonna do that.
Do you use that yourself? No. Is this your first time? Oh, yeah. I just met that product, and it's one of my favorites that I've ever met for curls, anyway.
This looks so good, Travis. It is
It's your reference.
the reference.
But you made it Kate's, you know?
Yeah. But it's exactly, I didn't know they asked for a picture of what I was going to do, and I'm like, I don't know, but.
Yeah, that's right.
But
we
this
both
is
thought the
what
same thing when you asked Kate. We were like, oh, that's kind of hard to do right now until we meet you, you know?
But this is what I wanted it to, I knew like I had a feeling of how I wanted the cut to be. It was more of how I felt, and then it came to life. And that's what I think being creative, and I would call everybody in here an artist, because I'm sure you don't just cut hair and you do other creative things as well. I mean, like, your makeup is so fucking fierce.
And your hair color.
I wish we could get one little just shout out. It's just so good and inspiring. And then the rainbow root, like, it's fun. You get inspired by people, and I love when people are just into it and want to have fun and not afraid and not so freaked out by everything. It's like, it is just hair at the end of the day.
We try to book models that are open. So, you know, remember that when you're talking to your clients today, your models/clients, remember that you can talk them into something if you have that, you know, vision, you see them.
I feel like you guys helped us with that yesterday.
Yeah, so we can do it again today.
Now I'm doing a little bit of the flat. I'm just pulling that out. But I also, you know, that is kind of the modern version of that Bob Dylan cut. And this is really not a lot of product.
It's just not washing the hair, you know, like letting it be.
And I'm going a little shorter now through here. And that way?
And so let's think about if Travis had kept wetting down his model, would he be able to start to see this final result? No, right? So remember that when you're grabbing the water bottle, sometimes in class it could be just a nervous thing where you're like, she's coming. I'm just spraying my model down. So let's try to not use water. And if you are, try to spray it only where you're cutting and not the whole head.
And again, same thing around that ear that I did yesterday. I did that little faux. I went from short to long, but then it still feels square, but it opened that up.
That is gorgeous. It's so fucking cool.
It has such a London feel to it.
You just changed Kate's whole life right now.
And I am ready for it.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. And
I'm so glad you were open.
We have Dee online is like so rock and roll and is loving this shape.
Yeah.
But I think today it was like, and yesterday, I really appreciate the energy y'all brought to here.
It's fun and inspiring to be here, right? Isn't this just that place? It's like, it's fun. And for me, it's fun to have you all here because it makes me feel inspired again, too. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. So when I took Kate's before video, one of the things that Kate did, can you see me? One of the things that Kate did in the video was pose like this.
Okay, here's the jelly.
And now this haircut is that, right? Like that. This haircut is that. Yeah.
So this is the jelly. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I feel like that's my cue for the song.
I don't think you're ready for this jelly.
Okay, we'll have to do that again.
We have to practice. We need to rehearse our routine.
So I feel like with their curl, the way I'm applying it is I'm just kind of getting it in, and then I like to go like this. So it's sort of like I take the product, and I just learned this doing someone's hair that, that jelly, she needs to come out.
That jelly isn't ready for you.
She's not. You know, I take that and I really...
I think it's a poor design. Sorry, Colton King.
I like stretch it out. So you can kind of see this product. Corinda?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
You're like, get with it. Hello. Are you paying attention?
So see that? And then there's something about just taking that chunk. I'll do that, and then it's like I flatten it. Down here, you know how it's getting kind of like, meow.
And like kind of clump it together.
Yeah.
Clump, clump. Oh.
This, I feel like, works if you have clients that have,
This seems good. This seems really
like Steve's hair, you know, like a tighter. Putting that product in really brings that coil out, you know, so you, because I think back in the day, people would grow out their natural texture and pick it out, but I think people like that shape, but they want to see that curl.
on the end, yeah.
And I had a really hard time styling that and finding products, and the receptionist at
sometimes you make
Sweet
it too
Caroline, she
flat.
taught me that. She's like, oh, I do this, and then it just works better. So I'm like, well, let me do that. And I've been doing that, and I just...
And you don't flatten out the root when you're doing that.
No, like I'm pulling it out, so I'm keeping the volume, and then
Smush.
do a little shake.
Little smush, smush.
You have 10 minutes. But,
So Echo says loving it, and also reminds them of peaches.
that's a good one. So I thought I was going to do
Bob
more
meets
around here.
peaches.
But I don't want it to be too PC. Like this is PC enough.
Yeah, it gives it more of a like retro vibe as well by not.
And then I just
piecing
had
it
a
out
new
too much.
vision of a little shorter right here. I want that shape to kind of do the.
Ooh, I love that.
The Bob Dylan. And
You're Bob Dylan.
your mom's Bob Dylan.
Steve's Bob Dylan.
Steve's Bob Dylan.
Steve's a different Bob. Wait, who's the Bob that paints? We should have a party where everyone dresses up as a
What's the
Bob.
time check
A famous
here?
Bob.
How many
like Brett's
minutes?
party.
How many minutes?
Oh, sorry, here. I got some here. I'm your jelly girl.
Okay. So I almost forgot about this.
Ooh, that's my favorite part.
And I do this too, the typical twisty twist, but I like the flatten. This is my new, because I don't want it, I just want it to
Yeah, do you need more? Here. I'm making a mess.
This is hard. You can see this on Stella Tennant. You can see, I mean,
Yeah,
there's
it is
so many
so
references.
fierce.
It is so fierce.
I could see it on Karina.
Yep.
I would wear it.
Anyone here?
I
Do
would
y'all
wear
like
that
the
back in
length
day.
back here?
I'm smishing in a little jelly,
Yeah?
spot. Little pink glob. I love it so much. I want to marry it.
Hell yeah. I do.
Okay, so this, I don't want it to do weird stuff, but, and then that here, I want to collapse that corner now. So see, like the technique was square, and then I'm
As
separating.
the curls come to life,
really
you're
quick,
seeing
my
things
last
you want
little
to change.
Because I didn't do that
Quick,
on
quick,
this
just
side.
kidding.
The arrowhead, the faux, short to long. I did that yesterday, so that opened that up.
A little longer version.
Um,
The little.
and me
You know, like
personally,
when they massage your hands when they're giving you manicure, and they do that little pinch on your finger.
oh, I love that.
You do that with the curls, like.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's pressure points in your hands? Like it's, what do you call it? Pressure points? Yeah.
Like nerves? No. Nerve
Acupuncture,
endings.
yes,
oh,
thank you. Acupressure. That
points.
it's like if you like this is like your stomach and this is like your neck. Did you?
I think
did
that's
you all
so
know that?
interesting.
Yeah. I don't know where I've been.
Back to Kate.
That looks a little off. You have 3 more minutes. What if I just didn't get off stage?
Like me yesterday.
Okay. I did want to do one little thing. I don't know why.
Little hair on your nose. Take it off there.
I had this little vision. I got to follow through. Is to do some little chunky curls in the front.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was like this. Oh.
I don't know. I just
Did
I
you
want
need?
it to at least dry like that. Yeah, finger coils.
Pin curls with the, we have little clips if you need them. Let me know.
I think I'm just gonna use my finger like that.
It just looks like you're having so much fun.
I feel inspired. I got so inspired I got emotional. I was like, oh my God, I feel really emotional. Well, the world's weird. So it's nice to be around cool people. So thank you.
Look at those curls. It just like, so good. Do you want this haircut now? Yeah.
So I am gonna let it sort of set like that, which I kind of like this look too. You saw the out, and then there's this.
And Kate is looking smoking. Smoking.
I love it.
Smoke show.
I fucking love it. Oh my God.
So good.
That's what it's my vision came to life.
Oh my God.
That felt so good. That was really fun. Thank you. That was a
Yeah.
magical moment. Thanks.
That was really amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you see how special
Of course. I saw your
this
picture.
kind of thing
and I
is. This
already
is why
knew.
I'm addicted to hair cutting.
I already knew.
Beautiful. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. If you have any questions at all, please send them in. We're going to take a little break, and we're coming back with a longer haircut. So we'll see you in a couple minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to be doing a longer haircut, razor curls again. And I just wanted to talk to people who are here. Like, what are some of the things that you noticed in the demo that were inspiring to you? Anything at all? Oh, do we have the microphone? I have one here. Thank you. Anyone? Okay.
I love how he could just, or they could just look at the shape and just kind of take off hair and like zhuzh it, take it off, zhuzh it some more, and like kind of step back and look at the silhouette of it. That's super inspiring just to see how intuitive that was.
Yes, I agree. I'm really inspired right now. And also, I have a hard time judging how short to take that layer on top sometimes. And just, starting here was such a good thing for me to see him do, because a lot of times I start on top. So that was cool, because it immediately was full and big and amazing, and sometimes it's hard to get that volume. So it was really good to see that technique started in this area rather than on top. Yeah, it's good. And it was just like this as well, a little shorter here, longer towards the back. It's just a beautiful shape. So that was really fun. And did you want to say something? I saw you.
I just wanted to ask why you decided to start, like, kind of right in the middle, like on the side.
That was the bang. The bang was already there. So I did that. I created a bigger bang section. And the whole thing, I didn't know exactly how the back was going to leave longer or shorter, or wispy or tingerly. But I knew I wanted that to be square, and I knew I wanted it to be out the jawline. So I just did that, and then it just felt like I saw the bang, I saw that, and it kind of made the haircut come together. And I use the Bob Dylan reference a lot. And it's also, some people might call that a shag, but I think it's a variation, and it's a different way of doing the ones that we've been doing. And I also love that style. I saw a picture of a wig, and it was kind of cut like that, but like set. Like I want to get a wig and do that haircut and do like a roller set.
Almost like kind of gave me Victorian vibes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it would just be so cool. Like roller set with that cut would be that would be really just
like
fun.
Loretti.
Yeah, like Loretta. It would be country western.
It'd be kind of like Loretti.
Yeah, but in a really good way.
The bigger the hair.
She does, like, there was that one, I don't know who it was, where it's sort of like that and styled and then long and curly in the back. I think I have a book with country western girls.
Didn't Bonnie Raitt have that style for a while?
Oh, I think she still does.
Oh, I love Bonnie Raitt's hair. Okay, so my model Erica is here. This is Erica. And Erica likes her long hair, and I actually really love it too. I want to keep it long, and it's beautiful. It's the density is pretty thick when you bring it together into a ponytail. It's kind of got like a good, amount of hair. So we're working on each individual strand. Some of them are a little thicker, and then there's like a different kind of strand here. There's like some finer strands and medium strands. But this kind of curl pattern, I feel like I can cut wet. It's not so tight that it's like worrisome. I know I am going to be using the length in the center as my guide, and I'm going to be taking off just these ends here that feel a little bit dry. And also Erica's like, please trim my hair. I was like, we're keeping it long, but can you trim it? Yes, we can trim it. So we're going to really just literally take off that curl. One curl. And then around the face, she also said, no bangs, please. I don't mind if they're, long. I just don't want short bangs. They don't look good on me. So I wish they did. Yeah, sometimes you can just take the ends and be like, do you look good in them? Looks like Michelle Pfeiffer in that one movie. What was that one movie where they all had long curly hair?
She also looks like the sister in Scarface.
Oh yeah.
Is that actress?
Yeah. I love her.
I love her.
She's gorgeous.
I feel like maybe
That was one of my favorites.
Just who I thought of.
And Michelle Pfeiffer's hair in that movie too is amazing.
And that bob is legendary.
Yes. Okay, so when I looked at Erica, I'm like, yeah, I love those. I love the bangs longer, and I'm gonna make sure that we make you happy today and not cut them. So when I looked at, this is kind of what I did in the mirror, and I just picked a spot where I thought they looked good, and it's just kind of like right here. So whenever I do that, I always just pull on it, and then I'm like, okay, where am I gonna cut it to? So I that's like my little notes. I'm taking notes, right? Studying for the test. So I make sure to measure it with something on her face so that it's easy for me to go in and cut it when it's wet. And then, like I said, I'm gonna go from here, from this bang length to this length back here. Let's find it again. Okay, so it's the longest guy in the center. So it's gonna go from there to this inch off here. So it's gonna be round. I'm gonna do round layers, and I'm gonna start my guide, my very first section, kind of large, and I'm going all the way to center back. And then when I measure where I'm taking that bang, I'm gonna hold it up and cut it. And I'm gonna cut it all around, like that. And then I'm just gonna take a couple sections. So my next section will be here, kind of round, like shake sections, and holding it straight out from the head as I cut it.
And for people that don't know what the shake sections are, what is that haircut?
The shake haircut is a Sassoon haircut from the 70s. It's like a layered, beautiful haircut, and it's round, and it looks like, it just works really well with curls. Curls really like that shape, and they do well with it.
Yeah.
So
I do that haircut all the time.
yeah, I feel like I'm always doing some version of the shake. So the shake is just diagonal sections that go back. And you usually start in the front and you over direct to the previous, so that it gets a little longer towards the back. But you could also start in the back and over direct that way so that it's shorter in the back, right? So you can really play around with these sections.
All the time.
You can start from the bottom and work your way up, or you can start from the top and work your way down, right? So there's just endless variations of this technique. And so that's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like techniques, you just use them over and over again, but then you kind of tweak them to work for what you want to see. So what's your vision and how will you approach it? So the vision is lots of little curls up here, shorter bits up here that give her more body up here and less volume down here.
And also I feel like the shape too, it's important, like the elevation, creating kind of making it heavy or lighter too.
Depends, if you look at the hairline.
Just in the front.
Yeah, if you look at the hairline in the front, you can decide, do I want to cut it? Do I want to cut it low and create more of a heavy perimeter? Or do I want to measure where I'm going, where I'm going to cut it, right? I'm going to cut it there and then just bring it up and cut it. And what's the difference between that? How would that fall? Right?
When you elevate the hair more, it falls
smaller at the bottom, right? Softer, yeah.
It's a softer line.
Yeah, and if you hold it here, there's more volume at the bottom with curls, because curls just go woo, right?
For someone with wimpy hair and you needed to create more of a shape,
you could hold it
closer
lower
to the face.
Yeah.
And I think like a bob, it's a heavy line.
So remember, it's just a series of choices, and you're really being thoughtful, and you're trying to create something in the end. And so you're really thinking about, how am I going to do this? And so I always come up with a plan before I take them to the bowl. And then sometimes that plan will change and switch up as you go, right?
Yeah, like my cut. I was just like, oh, I was doing square, and now it's just turning into another.
Yeah, and it still ended up looking square too.
But it was square, like in my head.
Okay, you want to go with
I didn't really,
Eric? He's going to wet you down.
Square.
Just conditioner. Yeah, you don't have to wash it.
Karina, last night we were talking about hair, and you had said that our friend and coworker Dante, and I really want to watch the video how he cut a bob doing inversions, right?
Yep.
And it was a really clean line, and I was just like, that's so genius. I've never done that. I'm like, I need to watch that.
and he's so good at it, and
Like
he
I
makes
do that
it look
with
so
curls
easy.
a lot. You know, I'll do that
Like
technique,
inversions, and you
but I've never done
weight
that.
removal to the length that you're going,
Yeah.
right? And you just
Yeah.
and so where you enter the hair is weight removal, and then where you exit is your target length. And so you have to constantly be thinking, right? You're like,
Yeah.
where's that target length? And then you nail it, right?
Yeah.
So that's hard, actually. And when I was watching Dante do it, I got really inspired. And one of my clients came in that would have been perfect for. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do this, right?
Yeah.
And he calls it a bob by way of inversions. So like you're cutting a bob, but you can only cut it with inversions. So, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So anyway, I tried it, and I kept like going too long or too short. And I was like, damn, this is hard. Like
Which
you really,
would be cool too, though.
yeah. Like
You know?
it's also important not to like get so like,
Yeah.
oh, like I tend to do that. Like Katie, like I'm just like, it's not perfect, you know. And I get a little bit caught up in that too. That's sort of my like, you know,
But Dante
trait.
is so skillful with a razor, like to do that, that's really hard. Like I'm like, I don't know if I can do
And
that.
even his stroke is like so like,
He's fun to watch.
yeah. You guys got to watch Dante if you have the app.
So it's because he's just hitting that same
Yeah.
spot every single time. He's
Yeah, like because his eye is just so right there. I'm like,
The line is straight, but there's no weight. It's just like this beautiful bob that's like, oh, it's like angel bob. Like it's just like no weight at the bottom, but it has a shape.
pretty.
It's like has a line. I have actually the picture that we posted for this class was that model.
I'm sorry, yawning.
And so the pictures were amazing. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys since we're talking about it. Oh, no. Oh, no, I'll just do it. I'll find it here. Where's this recent? Here it is. So this was the bob. I don't know if you want to see it there. It's on the Pony IG. And it's just like a very soft line. It doesn't really look like, it wasn't this at all. It was just little points that came to the length. And then if you look at some, that's before. And that was the bob. But how sexy is that? There's no layers. It's just inversions. So it's just like, it's like a one length.
Was there a section in the front that you guys all pulled forward for it to have that bang?
Yeah, I did the bang at the end because this was her before. But do you see how it brought out her texture? So this was her before, and you guys can check it out on the Instagram.
That'd be cool on like a curly bob.
Yeah, and so then those are the ends.
Was he bringing the
You can see they're all points.
down to the previous or past the previous?
He was going just past the previous, yeah. So you can tell because there's like it comes. There's no graduation. There's no graduation either. It's really cool. So it's like a lot of things there that you notice as a hairdresser who, right? Like so good.
I love that.
Just looks like it grew out from like something, you know?
I wish I had that.
I want this hair. And that's the back.
Let me see the back. That's really good.
Yeah, so each
God,
section
I'm
goes
impressed.
longer than the previous section. Each section's dropped a little bit longer than the previous, but they all come into points. So it's just like a cool design. It's like a secret. Like no one really knows, right? If you look at it, you're like, oh, that's Bob. But there's like all these like cool things about it that make it different. And so light. My model did have some tangles, so I think it's a take. So I'm like, want to see pictures? Do you want to talk about what you ate for breakfast?
Are there any things that you feel like that you're excited? Do you feel excited to go back to the salon and do hair? Do you feel like you'll pick up the razor and practice and continue, or do you think you're like, nah, that wasn't really for me?
I'm gonna go home and try to find a model to do the haircut you did yesterday.
Yeah. You should try to find when Ramona does the jelly cut too. It's
yeah,
really cool.
that one's that one was like our opening, I think, which is March 2019.
Watch both of them.
Yeah.
Like Karina was saying earlier, I feel like it is really easy to just kind of get into like this mindless like groove of just like busting out clients like left and right, you know what I mean? And not really taking the time to look at every like individual hair and like find the things that make the haircut special. So I am really excited to go back and just kind of be more inspired to take my time and just like feel through it more rather than just like, okay, this client's coming in at this time, and then here's the next one, and
and not
reading the hair.
Pull it out, make sure like where's my, you know, with a curl, because I was getting very free handy.
Yeah.
You know.
But you had your strong shape in first, and that's kind of what can help you start to deconstruct it.
I think sometimes in this industry it can be hard to stay inspired consistently because it is like a job at the end of the day, you know? And so I feel like stuff like this is so important so that way you remember like why you started it in the first place, you know? So, yeah.
These classes inspire me just as much as I feel like we're trying to inspire you. And it's kind of why I do education.
I mean, we are just doing long layers and, you know, and it's not often, I feel like inspiration pictures and references are so important. If you don't do that, just reference just like decades and just really get into it and who people are. And
you can excite people to try something that maybe they didn't initially want.
And I think people like a cool reference as opposed to, if it's pop culture from the 70s or 60s, that's awesome. But, you know, pop culture now, for me, you know, like give me something more than Kim Kardashian, respectfully.
Or
she's beautiful.
That's
I'm just, you know, and like you see her all the time. Like I want to hear something, and I like when people reference, even if you reference something kind of obscure, everyone can like pretend that they know who it is, and then they look at their phone like I do all the time.
You're like, yes.
Or just tell them like, oh, she's a French singer from the '60s, Francois Hardy, as opposed to Jane Birkin.
Or as opposed to like just a random Pinterest person, you know?
Or whatever inspired you, or just a piece of artwork that you thought was cool and you liked the shape or the color, or just things that you just think are cool, and it's nice, you know.
It's towel dried really well so that it can dry. Does your hair dry fast or does it take forever? Okay.
But people are interesting.
Okay, I'll do part of it.
I like watching people.
This one's last piece?
People are my favorite to watch. That and orangutans. Because we're the weirdest. Humans and orangutans. We're very strange. And gorillas. Then you realize you're like, humans are very primal. Like, we should just start being more primal. Because I think orangutans are pretty happy. You know? They're just like, I'm just going to walk around naked. If I don't like you, I'm going to throw my shit at you.
Wait, what?
But they're happy.
I missed all this.
Oh, sorry.
I'm like, what, Renee?
I said human beings are my favorite to watch, as well as like primates, because we're just weird and funny. And I'm like, humans should just get more back to our natural primal instincts.
Yeah. Like smell people.
Just
like just walk up to people and smell them like.
Yeah,
So we have Jezebel online, and Jezebel says inspiration rubs off and makes the clients feel excited.
True.
And when we're cutting their hair, and I think that's one of the things that we experience here a lot of times at Pony is we'll even grab another stylist and like, what do you think? How do you think I should approach this person's haircut? And clients love it. They really are like, oh my God, there's more than one person talking. Like, they're talking about me, but they're also like really spending some time. Or like, what product do you think is gonna be great on this client's hair? Or like, come watch what's happening with this client's hair. And people really are engaging.
It's nice not a know-it-all hairdresser. You know, it's good to just take a blow dry class from an assistant. You know, like, oh, just how do you blow dry? You talk about it. You know, or someone, and teaching. Teaching is really, everybody here should teach.
When you teach, you learn. You just have to learn because I don't think it's okay to just always say, I don't know why, I just have a feeling. It's just my intuition. You can't really teach like that. You have to teach a little more. Like just try to really dig deep and be like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. I really struggle with finding the word to match what I'm doing or how, you know, Karina's really, really good at that.
I taught every day. I taught every day for 4 years, every single day when I was traveling with Bumble, and I would get like, people would watch me, like professional educators would watch me and then take notes and tell me everything I did wrong. You know, so it was good for me, but I think the one biggest takeaway I took is that always when you're teaching, if any of you are interested in teaching, or some of you already do teach.
You should all teach.
Yeah, everyone should teach. But the one thing that I took away, and the one thing I tell people when they get nervous is, just say exactly what you're thinking, and then always say the why. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do this because her hair is finer here, and if I did it this way, then it probably wouldn't work, right? So like think about the whys, because it also helps you learn too. Okay, so this is my first section. It's quite large. I'm going all the way to center back, and I'm going a little higher than nape so I can get some substantial length there. And I'm going just past center. And I'm going to be cutting that to just above chin. So right around here. So I measure first, and then I just kind of keep my eye there. Cool? I got to get my elevation going first. So I'm going to lift straight out. It's almost like if a car was driving on this road, right? So I don't want it to be here. I don't need it to be here. If I did it here, you could, right? This is a little extra softness. So you decide what's going to work best for you, but for me, I'm going to come straight out like this.
Karina, this class you didn't talk about towns.
I didn't talk about towns, but I talk about towns a lot because when I was learning, we talked about cutting hair where it lives. So then I started breaking down the head shape into towns, like Bangtown, Crown Town.
Yeah, I always like that.
Nape Town. We've all been to Nape Town.
Yeah.
Have you been to Nape Town?
What town are you in right now?
Right now I'm in Bangtown, but I'm a little bit inside town.
You're on the border.
Yeah, I'm on the border. I'm crossing the border, which is the high point of the recession. Okay. So combing is important, right, Travis? Like just getting, like combing it the way you want to comb it, and getting it all ready and nice and even tension. I take my comb and I go all the way to my parting, and then I push, and then I squeeze. You know, there's a lot to the combing. I get it together, I squish it a little tighter, like whatever you need to do, right? This is how I feel more comfortable, is when I get that good tension. Then I'm going to measure, right? And then I'm going to elevate again. I have my eye there. And then I just like measure twice and cut once. No, you don't have to cut once. Now these strokes are going to be big. I'm going to work my way out a bit.
Why did you choose to use a wider stroke?
So I want that soft, the soft ends. Like one of the things that Erica said was that I don't like when the bottom gets too big. It's just like, I hate it, you know, so hook it up. So here I go.
And also watch like how Karina holds the razor. And also that she's not chopping like a tree. It's this motion, which I still sometimes I get nervous and I chop, and I have to, when I'm going to the left, I always remind myself to move my wrist. It's that motion that just makes it actually easier, and we're not going to have, you know, tendonitis and all this stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so now next I want to see where I'm going here. So I know I'm going to take that curl off. So before I keep going, I have to make sure that I'm going to the right place, right? I don't want to keep going and be like, oh shit, now I got to do a mullet, right? I might change my whole plan. I might be like, I guess I'm taking off more length, right? So I really want to stick to my plan and focus on it. So I'm saying, and that's why I have a hard time talking. I'm like, what? What'd you say?
Well, and this is one of those really crucial moments. Sometimes there's so much time spent combing, and you keep combing and you keep combing until you actually see what's actually happening. And it's like, where is my section? How do I, until it's like perfectly set up before we cut it, instead of cutting and be like, oh, I should have left that length, or I went too square. I was going, I really needed to have more of an inversion. Like, the setup, you can comb forever, and then the cutting fast.
So I feel like that's gonna get that little small little guy, and she's like, I don't mind a V in the back, right? So I'm like, I'm hooking it up. I was like, I'm gonna give you bangs even though you don't want bangs. No, I'm not like that.
Curly bang would be.
I'm like, well, maybe next time. So I don't like how I look. Okay. I'm like, okay, fine.
Your makeup looks so good on camera.
So, she's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna twirl this so that I don't get into it. But also, I'm always thinking about detangling and getting myself set up so everything is easy. So because this is a bit of a center part, I can take a guide from here. That's nice, right? Oh, yeah. Just a circle. And it's a round shape. I want a round shape, and I'm working on a round shape, so I can just follow the shape and be pretty right on, right?
Yeah.
It's like makes it easy. Okay, so I'm gonna use this guy. Again, I remember how I elevated, so I want to match that over here. The other thing too I like to do is, you see where I'm at here? I like to take that over here because I'm like really crazy about balance. I get a little OCD. I apologize.
I appreciate that.
But see where I'm going? So I just kind of know that I'm going like a few inches down by the time I'm done with this section. Just by looking at it, I know I'm going to here. You could even hold on to that if you want. Let me do it one more time because I'm crazy.
Do you remember Wes, Karina?
Yeah, I remember Wes.
Do you know what's his last name? Sharpton?
Yes, Wes Sharpton.
Yeah, I love him. I'd get clients or I'd meet someone, I like, oh, I like your haircut. And they'd be like, yeah, it's a little long over here, but that's Wes's thing. He says it's supposed to be like that. And I was always like, is it just because he has a hard time with balance and then it just became a thing, Like,
Yes? Oh, sorry.
but I like that he had a whole clientele of women that were like, okay, that's cool. It's a little longer over here. Because that's what Wes said, like. And it looked cool. It always was cool. It was just a little bit longer.
It's a signature.
Yeah. I do like a balance though in the front. I always take pieces like Karina when I'm doing a long layer.
That guy, I don't know if he'll reach. All right, I'm grabbing my length again just so I can remember. And I'm just going to take that center guy that was over there and bringing him over here. Because now I have a guide to work to, which is nice.
Which is nice.
Yeah. So here's where I'm going. I like to just take note prior. Yeah. So I'm working to that curl. So I can take all that off there. And I'm elevating a lot here. Sometimes I follow all the way around, right? But I'm elevating a lot here because I want to maintain that length, and I also want to layer it a lot. So if I keep going shorter here and I bring it up to that, then this will get skinnier as it falls down to here.
Did you put any products in her hair?
I haven't.
No.
Not yet, but I will. I'll do that right now.
Just curious. Do you blow your hair out ever? Yeah, yes.
Only straight, never
But-
curly. The diffuser does not work for me.
You only blow it out straight?
You don't wear it curly?
I air dry it.
You air dry it, yeah.
Yeah.
Or blow it out straight.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, usually air dry, but I've
sometimes
tried diffusers,
Yeah.
and it makes
They
my
can
hair
do it.
frizzy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it nice.
So air dry, is air dry better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's how curls usually end up looking best, is like a little air dry.
All right, so here we are so far. I'm just gonna check again for balance and make sure that I'm not getting too much longer or that it's off. I feel like it's pretty good. All right, now we're gonna keep going. So my next section is gonna be another circle, and then the last section is just gonna be a little circle on the top. A little baby. So I'll let it part in the center again, or wherever it parts. Sometimes you just open it and it's like, this is where I part. And so I'm just gonna go with that. I'm gonna show you how Erica's hair parts. So it just kind of goes off to the side. And so if I pushed it this way, you could see this smile, right? There's a smile line at the root. That means it doesn't want to go over there. So if you push it there and it lays flat, it's like, yeah, this is where I live. And this is probably what I'll do when Erica's not paying attention. So I'm going to part it right down the center. And I'm going to take another circle. So I'll just kind of leave this crown guy for the end. And I just put my finger here, and I start here, and I just kind of go around to my finger. And that helps me get my little parting. I don't mind if it's perfect. Sometimes I do, I secretly do, but I try to pretend like I don't. Because it doesn't matter. Right here, it doesn't matter if it's perfect.
Do you do like a round section a lot? Like
for the shake?
Or just other cuts?
I do. Sometimes I blow dry like this too.
You do?
Yeah, like I'll just take out that whole set, thing and then blow dry, starting in the front and working my way back.
Yeah. I feel like I used to do that.
Sometimes I do. I don't do it always though.
Yeah.
All right, so now this section here, it's important to comb it up. I'm gonna comb this up as well, a little bit higher. And I'm gonna look for my guide. Where's my guide? Sometimes if the section's too thick, you might have to take a little away. I feel like I have to take a little away. So I can see better. What are you guys talking about? Right, there it is. Okay, so I'm gonna have you put your head down, and I'm just gonna comb up. I'm gonna start here, and as soon as my guide falls out, I'm gonna start cutting.
Why is the head down?
What's that?
Why did you have her put her head down?
Because if she puts her head up, then I'm like, right? And you might see my butt. I'm only concerned about my butt right now. So if she puts her head down, then I don't have to worry about my butt.
The booty's extra.
That's an extra $1,000.
That's another app. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a different app.
You can find that on Karina's OnlyFans account.
Cutting hair.
Karina's on fans
That would be
only.
a good one. You know, just cut hair on OnlyFans. That might be a fetish.
Totally.
But just with your clothes on? Or you? Maybe not.
Just with my butt sticking out of this dress.
The other day, somebody asked me if I have nice feet, and Karina saw the text. I was like, yeah, I do. My feet are nice.
I saw the response, like, yes. No punctuation or anything.
I don't get that one.
I can see my guide, so I'm just cutting just past my guide and elevating. And that's not super easy, what I just did. It's like kind of hard.
What,
But I think it's hard just because I'm choosing to elevate it high. And
Yeah.
why am I choosing to elevate it? Because I want it more layered.
Yeah.
If I brought it here, then it'd be less layered, right?
Yeah.
But because I want it more layered, I'm lifting. Using my guide up here, so I have to have her put her head down so that it's easier for me. Right? Take a little more of my guide right here. Let's see where that is. As I work around, I'm going to move around her head.
And you're kind of just taking in that whole section.
Yeah, just like taking the whole previous guide.
So you can see how that looks.
Yeah, just because otherwise I can't see it. It's like if I take too skinny of a section, and plus I'm taking really large sections, I think with the razor you can do that. It's like easy to do that. But also when you look at what I'm working on down here, it's nothing, right? So why would I take 10 sections for that? You know, like a little section, and you're like, I'm cutting 2 hairs. But you can see your guide, you see it? Like I could even cut it here. That's weird, that's a no-no, but I wanted to do that. Just because I had it, I saw it, I was like, cut it. You know, sometimes you just gotta like do it, because then you lose it. Okay, so in here, look, all I have left, oh, sorry, like this. So all I have left here, elevate, I can see my guide under there. And I'm not doing anything like fancy, no inversions, nothing like that, because I just want to get my shape in.
You're gonna shake it out.
I want to get my shake in.
Take out the shake.
The shake. Okay, so you can start to see it coming along.
Where does the layer kind of fall?
The layer is here, so it's still kind of long,
Yeah.
but it's building, you know. All right, so my next guide, I should be able to cut the rest. Oh. Ah. Okay, so I had this section here. I'm going to cut in really quick.
I love watching you do this.
Oh, thank you. All right, so here, this guy here, I have a guide here, and I have a guide here. I have a reference, right? See all that in between? So I'm gonna cut it straight up. Like this.
Does anybody have any questions,
I'm gonna get on this side. I'm gonna hold it
comments
straight up.
online or anything?
Right, so there's one guy, and there's a guy. And I can go all the way until I see that guy, and I can go a little bit shorter as I work my way forward. And that was easier than doing it like the other way, like kind of bringing it around, right? It was easier just to bring it around. Now I'm just going to check it. And then in here, I'm gonna really break the crown up. So I'm gonna start low and work out to that section there because I want to break up this weightiness here. And also, Erica wants some like little short guys around the top, you know.
So Jezebel has a question.
Yes.
Can you do this with vertical sections moving around the head?
Yes, do it. I say try it all. This side is a little heavier here. So I'm just looking now at my shape and I'm seeing a little heaviness here. So I'll elevate and see why. If you did it vertically, like more like square sections, I think is what vertical would do, like more like what you would take to do square layers. You would do more vertical, but you could do any shape with the razor because it's not, you can section it whatever you're comfortable with sectioning it just to get that round shape. You don't have to do it this way.
And kind of going a little more against the head shape, you know? You're just doing vertical. But it's not really wrong either, you know?
And I'm just lightening up around that, like, you know, parietal bone, rounding it a little more.
About 18 minutes.
You have 18, just kidding. Just a little Travis. All right, so now when it falls, you're gonna have some things around the hairline that you can, let's see, I think I wanna use, do we have this leave-in? Yeah, we do, thank you. This one's really nice because it's heavier.
Who's that from?
This is by Mr. Smith. It's a leave-in that's a lot heavier than like, you see the difference? So because this is so light, it has really no hold unless you have like finer strands. But if you have thicker strands, you might want something a little thicker. And this product is very softening. And I'm just gonna apply it to these ends.
Erica was also very excited when she was hearing about jelly, and she said she's not leaving here without it.
I need that jelly. I feel like I also feel like Erica has a little jelly built in to her jelly.
Do you think jelly would be good for her hair?
Yeah.
Because it's got like that surfy quality, still shiny. I think she's got a natural surfy quality to her hair. You know, her hair already feels like it has surf spray in it. So if I added more surf spray on it, what would I get? Then I might like it.
Yeah. Would you
Just
ever
a little.
mix the jelly with
I haven't liked surf
the surf spray?
Not on my hair.
No.
If I've ever tried it, it doesn't really.
You don't like surf spray?
Not on me.
Not on you, yeah.
So I feel like this has a similar vibe, but it's also a little bit like gel because it has like some hold to it. Jelly, and then the shine part might be good for you, but I don't want to like take a chance during my demo.
Got it.
Because I'm like, well, what if I F it all up? And then I'm just really working this leave-in into her ends. And then I'm just taking sections, working the leave-in. How much time do I have?
10 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
We have 12. We have 12 minutes.
I was pretty on that.
You're like 10, just so she'll hurry up, like super hurry up. Yeah. And so I'm just gonna like work that product in, make sure I'm working it in, but I don't want it to get totally wet yet, because I do want it to start to dry.
Would you totally wet her hair there?
To style it again?
Yeah, or just kind of see
Maybe
what
in
starts to happen.
Maybe in the salon, but maybe not. I kind of like how this product is shining up her ends really nicely.
And do you do it, you kind of twist?
Yeah, just like bring those guys together.
I like that. Like
I was showing you this yesterday, right, when we were doing our And it's really fun to do that, especially because curls just kind of like start to like.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed you like curl one way and it's like,
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for too. I'm like,
And I think it's fun too because you can change the way your curl pattern goes. Like, you know, you have a like, certain type of curl, but just the way you style it, it can stretch it out a little more, move differently.
the hair back
curls.
here is just a little
Curls
more,
are lucky. I love curls.
like a little more textured. There's a little more texture back here. So I will probably add some of this first because it's kind of like water.
I liked that one.
Yeah, this one's like kind of like water. When you put it in,
It was just really nice. It felt
yeah,
really good.
you can see how it just hydrates right away. It's a very hydrating product. And this is good for Erica. So something a little more slippery for this hair. And then, because I filled in all the pores, I'll go back in with the leave-in to kind of go over the top of that. So it's like a little extra cushion of product.
The leave-in on top.
I love the leave-in. This leave-in's so nice.
Which one is
I don't know.
that?
This is the Mr. Smith one.
Who makes the jelly again?
But look, there's no water on there. It's
Who?
just product.
I like that. I like that packaging. It's really pretty.
See how much curly hair shrinks?
So many new fun products too. I feel
like there's way better products for curls
way better
than there were when
Yeah,
we were
so
younger.
many
We
more
talked about that, yeah.
In the 80s, it was mousse.
It was just like, yeah, like you just wanted it to be like no frizz,
That's it.
right? Gel.
Nexus.
Yeah, and you didn't really know how to like take out the crunchy like vibe, and if you did, you were like, oh, I ruined it.
Yeah, Paul Mitchell was fancy.
And now I'll do the bangs. I'm gonna use a little mannequin for the bangs.
What does a mannequin do?
The mannequin has a lot more hold. So those two products don't really have hold, they just have a lot of hydration, which curls love. But this product does offer more hold, and I can just put a touch of water with it.
Do any of the lines that you have kind of like a cream/oil? Like there's this Shuamora.
Ooh, I've heard Shuamora is
Shuamora's
good.
really nice.
Colton King, their style has a kind of a cream oil.
Cream and an oil that I love.
Misha loves that one.
It's amazing. It's
It does.
magic.
This is the one that has the hold.
I like the style even over dry curly hair, and it will just rehydrate them and bring them, polish them again, and kind of gathers. It's great.
Sometimes I tell my assistants, like I'm
I
looking
like
for,
Super Shine too by Orbe.
I'm looking for like a slug appearance on those ends, you know?
It's what?
My favorite.
Me too. I think that's a good like gateway hair product for clients because you can do curly and you can blow it out and then you can start adding all the tricks and I think I like that one product that's like opening the door to the world of products for curly hair, you know?
Yeah.
Super Shine is really nice. It's similar to the Essence Absolute. It's the Shuamora one. I like those too.
I'm trying to think of like a product in Arnico that would be comparable to jelly. I kind of want to try Velvet Curtain. I feel
Velvet
like
Curtain.
it's like a newer one, but
And the jelly is what? Like it again. Explain it one more time.
It's synthetic free, so
It's what?
100%
Synthetic free.
100% synthetic free, which is what makes it unique
Yeah.
for those people that are really sensitive to chemicals.
Nice
and
to have.
fragrances, yeah.
And it has a little hole.
It's Himalayan sea
like
salt.
oh, the
It has a little-
Himalayan.
Yeah.
Tell them. It's like it's that from the Himalayas.
Himalayas.
We work with Aaron. And he would always say, what was
He would always have like goji berries.
Goji berries from the Himalayas.
I'm eating some
That's how you
goji
would say
berries.
it.
It's
They're
so
goji
good for
berries from the
you.
Himalayas. And then
I'm adding some more leave-in.
Aaron, if you're watching, I love you. I hope you're in the Himalayas. Then he made a product. Like, what was it, Karina? Aaron made that product from the Himalayas.
He did? Oh, he made Aaron's product with Colton King?
Oh, I thought
No.
I thought Aaron made a product.
Oh, he did? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it was like something about the Himalayas. I'm like, this is so weird. Goji
And if
berries.
you're watching, let us know.
Goji berries is so like 10 years ago. Like who eats goji berries now?
Like I gotta go to the store to get my. I gotta go to
Do you
my
eat goji berries?
acai bowls. Everybody eats acai bowls here.
What's a popular berry?
Acai bowls.
Oh, acai. I'm gonna come up with a product with acai from the Himalayas. It's acai.
Well, because Aaron has like a kind of like a surfer. He has like a surfer accent, you know.
He's a valley girl, but he's not from the valley.
No, he's from Colorado.
He's from Detroit.
Oh, is he from
Some
Detroit?
people just have a valley girl accent.
They're like far out,
I'm from San
far
Diego.
out.
Yeah.
Did you ever used to say moated?
Never.
I said it.
That was not my word.
I definitely said it.
You said rad. I still say that sometimes.
All right, so what I'm doing is I'm
Cool.
just like, I don't want to wet it down, so I'm really going in heavy with product. Okay, put your head up like this.
Okay.
Just gonna shake it out a little bit.
That's so pretty.
Okay, come back. Okay, so now what I see here is a little bit of straighter hairs. Do you always have these straighter hairs?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just right there.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut those shorter.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer that. Most people don't understand that.
Karina, how do you feel about like, I kind of how we were making fun of the gel and the mousse. How do you feel about like a wet curly look right now?
I love it.
I like it too. I'm into it again. For so long I was like, ooh, no. And now I'm kind of like, I like that wet curl. Like it looks sexy. You know, when you see, I feel like a lot of like Cardi B and stuff, you know, when they do the long and it's just like kind of wet and curly. I like that look. Is there a product that you...
That makes it like that?
Yeah. Just gel, right?
I think it would just have to be like lots of gel and mixed with lots of like a serum or like an oil, you know? Something that, you know, coats the hair.
Yeah.
Because a gel will end up drying.
Jam? Oh, jam. Yeah.
Jam.
You know?
Jam? That's so heavy. Yeah.
All right, so what I'm doing now is there's a bit of a weight line between, like in here with my length. So in order for me to keep this length, I have to get rid of a little more of this weight line. You see it?
Yeah.
Is it just thicker there?
Well, it's also like, I didn't get to wet it back down, you know, which is like really good. But like maybe right here.
I feel like doing this haircut too is nice if you have a client where, you know, they come in and it's really off and you just need to bring it and balance it back and get them back into a good spot.
Yeah.
I do this a lot, you know, where you're just like, I really need it to be, just like figure out what's going on with this hair. And then your next one will be the showstopper.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that where clients, you're just like, I can't even figure out what happened?
Like what happened?
What had happened was?
Well, what had happened?
Like that person that I gave that square layer to at Architects in here. Sorry, girl. I don't remember who you are. I really apologize for that one. Because I'm sure somebody was like, what the fuck? But that's part of learning. And I never did that again. Like, I learned more from that haircut, I think, than any haircut I ever did. Because I was like, I'm never gonna do, I was mortified.
What'd you do? Square layers on...
On a bob, and it just caved everything in. It was like nothing down here. It fell in. It was so fucking ugly and gross, and I didn't know what I was doing because I was like, it's square. I'm just gonna do square, 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 square. You know, but that I didn't know square, but you have to save the bottom. It was mushroom, it was flicking, it was like doing everything you would never want a haircut to do. Uh-huh. And then Alicia was really patient and she came and she did work it out and she explained it to me and I just, because I was just like, Scarlett, I'm just going and, oh, I think we started in the back. And it was this, I went here, like I did on her, but on that bob, it was just like, oopsie. Maybe haircutting isn't for me. It was a hard one to get over, but.
I mean, Karina knows one of my nightmare haircuts when I was in beauty school. And Sebastian had that really like strong haircut. It was like, it just framed the face, like sat right on the cheekbone.
Yeah.
And so my cousin wanted that, who had really super dense, thick hair. And then it got really like fine around the whole perimeter. So no one would help me. So I just pulled all her hair all the way from the back and cut everything right to her like eye cheekbone area. And when I went to go blow dry it, I was like pulling hair from the back to try to wrap it around her face because it wasn't even a mullet. It was just like, she'd never let me cut her hair again. Like rarely talked to me after that. It was like the worst moment of my life. And I was like, it's like, but I learned so much. Like, you don't cut it right to where you want it to live.
Yeah.
So just like in these straighter pieces here, I'm gonna go in and just lighten them up so they curl up a little bit. So right here.
I like the sort of 80s curly pieces.
Me too. So I'm like softening up these really straight pieces here.
She's like an 80s like freestyle singer, like Lisa.
Tilt that way.
Are you a singer?
Are you a singer? No. Does she look like a singer?
Yeah. Or like a Mariah Carey. Younger, not now.
Can you say like Mariah Carey?
She's so pretty, but I liked her more natural.
Yeah. That hair was.
I'm out of time. You're out of time.
What if the chair just dropped? We're done. It's like, boop. Time's up.
Combs
Karina
down.
will no longer be with us. Sorry.
Combs down.
Time's up. She just disappears.
Like the Willy Wonka factory.
Eric's like, I said you had 2 minutes. 2 minutes means 2 minutes.
And you're doing these there to create a point?
Yeah, I'm just lightening all this like straight stuff.
Is it warm in here or is it just me? Oh.
I'm warm too. I'm so hot right now.
Hey, are you wearing a jumpsuit? You're not warm? Yeah. The lights are like. Oh, I like it.
Right here.
So, Karina.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm being really weird today. I don't know what's wrong with me.
So I think something that's really important that you did, Karina, too, that's really, we can really see now is you took all that time styling the hair and prepping it. And even though you're going through it now and recombing through things, the hair is still drying. You haven't destroyed the curl pattern. You know, all that work that you really put into it is still showing up and you haven't lost anything.
I'm trying to like style it as before I'm, like kind of want it to just be done.
I like the front because it's not a bang, but it's something. It's very different.
She's got like all these little short bits.
It's so pretty.
It's got that like big chunky bang that looks so good. I love that big chunk of a bang. And then if you start to look here at the back, like taking out a lot of that like weight in there, help to make that like long hair down there not look so separated.
And when you do that, what do you see before you cut. You just kind of want
I see a little wavy spot there,
Yeah.
even though it's like kind of like frizzle a little bit right now. I can tell that I can cut into it because it just needs to go. It needs to go.
And I think it's tricky about curly hair because it'll look kind of transparent before it dries.
So then you're like, oh, is this gonna look okay? But yeah, that's the thing I think too, is like, that's why I wanted to style it a lot so that I can start to see what, and she told me before, she's like, my hair has all these different like curl patterns, like big curls, small, like loose curls, tighter curls. So I just wanted to see what they want to do.
So Deborah's thanking us for such a fun morning. She had such a great time. Watch us. Thanks for being with us today, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah. Deborah.
My life, my life, my life, my life.
Looks so pretty. That one piece though around her face, it does look so straight.
It's very straight.
Like you just
I just pointed them to her lips, you know. Let's point at these gorgeous red lips. Okay, let's do one thing real quick. What should I do? I gotta finish it up. What do I
You
want
look
to?
so good with really short hair too, though.
See how the mannequin held those curls?
So good.
And it's kind of like a soft, bouncy hold, you know.
I love that curl.
All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit of this. I worry because it's like makes it really, really wet, but there's a couple pieces that I want to define. So this product's actually really great for day 2 hair. You can go over like your frizzy guys. And like, I don't mind some guys that are frizzy. That's how I teach my client. Like Wes is like, hey, it's supposed to be off. I'm like, hey, it's supposed to be frizzy.
But I think that's the thing with curly hair, like you kind of have to just go for it.
And the frizzy is pretty, I think.
I think the frizzy makes it cool, you know, like I know it's kind of like I liked that was the thing I liked about Sex and the City back in the day was that she just looked like she woke up with curly hair and left, and I felt like that was the first time you kind of saw someone with curly hair, but it was so sexy and good, and I like that too.
Like this is how she was walking down the street with all her hair on one side, just like when the car comes. Remember, she does that little. So that's the look. Sarah Jessica. I always call her Sarah Jessica Parker. I just add an extra little Eka. Sarah Jessica. All right, and then we'll do it the other way. All right, can we bring up our other model now that it's over?
Yes.
Class is over for the viewers. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for watching, and hope you had fun, and tune in again.
All right. Let's take this off. You can stand up.
Just really quickly, I wanted to do this on stage, but I set her hair. So I did, with my hand, I did some pin curls, and I just pinned this. I learned this working with Guido, doing the shows. He uses these all the time, and it's a great way just to set the hair in.
Okay, go like this.
Like that. And I just
Stay like that, don't move.
How I just wanted to do something different.
Turn around.
Are those separate inserts and those pin clips?
No, these are just the cover clips. You buy them like that, and it doesn't give a crease. Yeah. But it's fun, even like on her hair or clients. But we do that a lot during Fashion Week. You know, we'll just style it and then kind of go around, and you're like, I want it flatter here. I want it to dry like that.
Some scissor work real quick.
I'm really kind of old-fashioned, and I still really love hairspray. But the one I like.
I love hairspray too.
I love hairspray. But the best one is Elnet from France.
Or Germany.
Or
I likes the ones that have really better.
What's it called, Travis?
It's Elnet, and you can buy it still like at CVS, and that one's still good, but what I like about it is it gives it hold, and then you can move it around. And on someone with fine hair, it's literally you put it in your hand and go like that. It's the best hairspray of all time. It will change your life.
Okay, one last thing.
Keep my head like that.
Yeah, keep your head like that for a second.
This is sort of like working on set right now.
Yeah, right?
Just that when that little magical moment happens.
Like just a little mousse.
Five different products in here. I feel like that's what I probably need.
It's kind of sad that you need so many products, but
We're doing quite like a wet application.
Yeah, it's going for it.
which one's that? Oh
Sort
yeah.
of styling it like I would if I was on set. And I'm really aggressive. And I got this, I'm name dropping right
All
now.
right, turn
but
around.
From working with Leo. And this is just what he does like before every girl goes out. He literally comes and just does these little things. And it's his touch, it's his signature. And you like walk away, you come back and you're all lined up and you're like,
Straight hairs. I'm just cutting them short.
and I
Just a little bit so that it gives them a little.
Strange.
And it's just like that.
I know, I hate when people
Really
decide
inspired
them,
me
like,
watching
supposed
him.
You're like,
to
don't
be
you
like
see
this, and I'm
these?
like, really? 'Cause
Because it's just like,
that's like you need to camouflage them or something.
Yeah, so that they kind of
They blend in.
they velcro to the rest of
Yeah,
them, you know.
Travis,
huh?
he always takes away the perfection
So I
of
was
hair, but
telling
that's-
Kate,
Yeah.
my hair was actually straight until
Yeah,
I was
So he
like
like
a
takes,
teenager.
like changes what he does.
So then what did you do? Were you like tripping? Were you like, how do I even do my
I just-
hair?
Such an
I
And
just
that-
look at
what
it
do you
today
wanna
and I'm
do
like,
now?
wow, I can't believe
Sometimes in a picture,
this
it's
is my
really, really
hair
sad.
is like so
That really
different
works.
from what it was.
What do
But
you
I
all think?
really, really wanted curly hair when I was younger. I even got a perm
Yes.
and it totally fell out right away because my hair was like too straight.
Yeah, it's so jellyfish, but it also could get bigger too, but I just sort of wanted this to do this little thing. I mean, it's sort of in a shaggy world.
All right, so I want you to go like this.
Square for picture.
Let all your hair fall. Stay there.
You could do that.
Stay there. I'm going to cut a piece.
Kind of square you.
Yes. Yeah.
And I like to take it in the crown too.
I think that's how I want it to be. Are you into it or no?
I am so into it. Do you guys like mine too? Okay, flip back. Oh yeah, just like that. Stay like that. Don't move. Right now, I'm just like looking for like her straighter pieces and kind of just.
Just cutting them shorter so that way like the perimeter all makes sense.
Yeah, if you start to cut into them, they start to Velcro to the curls. So then they don't stick out as much.
You finally get it.
When you had her bent over like that, you really could see the shape.
Yeah, you can see the shake, right?
Yeah.
So it's staying true to it and then adjusting it afterwards. Like what does it need? Can I have the dry texture spray? I'm doing one more product. Can you get up here? Yes. Can you come up here? Right next to. All right. So can you guys look to the left? Both of you look all the way profile to the left. And then turn all the way to the wall behind you. All the way to the wall behind you. And then now turn to this wall where I'm at. And then now look back at the camera and say goodbye. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm just gonna put more product in her hair because why not? Because it's fun. And we'll see you hopefully in studio. I love it when you guys come visit me. And we'll see Travis again soon. Thank you so much, Travis.
Thank you.
You're the best. Are we on camera right now? Yes. Yeah, this is it. We're saying goodbye.
Oh, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you guys so much. We're doing hands-on next here in the studio, and we'll see you. Take a look at our upcoming events. Put them on your calendar.
Y'all come back now, you hear?